What's going on, guys? Now that I've had an entire day to let this whole trade sink in and analyze everything that has happened with a full, clear view mind of it, uh, I'm going to actually make my thoughts video on this trade right now, my legitimate thoughts. My last video I made about the whole Tigers trading Prince Fielder, I still stand by everything in that video I said. I'm still not happy that it's Ian Kinsler. I still would rather have Prince Fielder over it. But here's the deal. Whining about it and getting on here, screaming and throwing a temper tantrum is not going to trade. Is not going to keep the trade from happening. It's over with. It's happened. Ian Kinsler is our starting second baseman for the next 4 years, whether I like it or not. I have no personal quarrel or beef against Ian Kinsler. I have always liked Ian Kinsler. I thought he's a good player. You know, watching him from afar, I've always respected him. Now, do I feel that Prince Fielder, he was good as worthy of a Prince Fielder trade? No, but like I said, that's besides the point. Now, I want to look at this for all the reasons why this trade happened and the positives on this because, like I said, I do not like the trade and I still stand by everything I said in my previous video. Here's why this trade happened and why this is probably the best move in the Tigers for the long run. Why this trade happened. Like I have been preaching for the longest damn time about Cabrera, he just cannot play third anymore. First off, he was the second worst starting third baseman in the major leagues this year, behind Michael Young. So all you people that keep constantly trying to come on here, I had a person arguing with me for 2 days that Cabrera was a great third baseman because all the effort he puts in at trying to become better. Look, I love the guy's hustle, I love his heart, he likes playing third, but sorry, he's a crappy third baseman. If you can go a step to your left or a step to your right, you're already better than Cabrera. I mean, the guy's a vacuum cleaner and stuff hit in front of him. Even though I've saw him bobble quite a bit of stuff hit in front of him, and he's got a cannon of an arm, but he's just not a good third baseman. Now, a first baseman, he's slightly below average, or maybe even average first baseman, which is a step up from Fielder because Fielder was the worst fielding first baseman in the major leagues this year. The guy is absolutely horrible with the glove. So you bump Cabrera over there, and he's a step up above Fielder defensively, so that's good. And then Kinsler is a lot better with the glove than Omar Infante is. Kinsler was the fourth, according to the Fielding Bible this year, he was the fourth best fielding second baseman in the major leagues this year. So you just got stronger up the middle defensively with Iglesias and Kinsler. So now you got a dude in Iglesias who, in my opinion, is going to be the best defensive shortstop in baseball in the next 3 years, starting next year. When he's playing a full 162 there. Both guys with great range up the middle. He's really going to improve your defense on top of you can now slot Cabrera back at first base where he's not taking nearly as big a toll on his body as, say, third base was. You know, maybe he'll be more productive. And I think the biggest reason for this trade was as they saw how bad that Cabrera was performing the last month of the season because of how much of a toll for our third base took on him. So they really couldn't wait anymore to put him back at first because I had a solution for all this. You know, I was going to not re-sign Martinez. That way Cabrera could slide into first/DH along with Fielder. That way you could get him out of third. He was going to have to play third one last season. But apparently the Tigers felt the need. They didn't want to wait anymore. They wanted to pop Cabrera back at first. And on top of, they're trying to free up money to sign Max Scherzer and Cabrera long term. And, you know, saving $76 million over the next 7 years will be a great help for this to sign these guys long term because you no longer have those contract obligations and constraints on your payroll anymore, paying Prince Fielder $24 million a year for the next few years. Actually, Ian Kinsler's contract, he's making 16. I think he makes 16 the next 2 years, and his contract actually declines like to 12 and then $11 million towards the end of it. So his contract actually becomes more team friendly as it goes on, which is good in the Tiger standpoint. And when his contract's over, the Rangers are still going to owe Prince Fielder 3 more years. So I completely get this, and it would make sense on the Rangers side. You know, ever since they lost Josh Hamilton, they lost a huge power bat, and they lost a lot of offense in their lineup. You know, you're going to get Prince Fielder is going to go over there, and he's just going to dominate that park. You know, like I said last year, or like I said yesterday, excuse me. Prince Fielder lost his power at Comerica Park because he could no longer hit the opposite field home run. And don't tell me I'm wrong and it's not true because he was declining. It's not because he was declining. He was great. when you go from hitting 12 opposite field home runs in your last year in Milwaukee to 8 over the last 2 seasons, 12 home runs was half the amount of home runs he hit this year. And that was just Oppo home runs in Milwaukee's last year. When you lose the ability to hit the Oppo home run, it's a lot harder to hit a bunch of home runs as a Deadpool hitter. Why do you think Chris Davis hit so many home runs this year? Because he learned to hit the ball to all parts of the field. Why do you think Cabrera hits as many home runs? Because he can hit the ball all parts of the field. Because he can take a ball pitch at any part of the plate, flick it to the opposite field if it's on the outside, pull his hands in, pull it in if it's, when you're just got to sit dead red lower half for field it was this year, you're going to strike out more, and his average reflected it. And his power numbers reflected it too. So, looking at this trade, like I said, it makes a lot of sense. You get a guy that comes in and replaces Josh Hamilton's production. You no longer have that clog up the middle. So now Profar can move to second, Kinsler, or Andrews is your shortstop. And then fielder, you get a great bat in who's going to destroy that park for years to come, who can be a first base / DH with Mitch Moreland. They can swap off on it. So, he's going to be protected pretty good there playing first. And he gets in a way more team-friendly park or hitter-friendly park for him because I imagine, he waived his no-trade clause pretty quick to go to Texas. So he knew what was waiting for him down there, and he already tweeted right field be ready. So he knows what's going to go on in Texas. So the trade makes sense all the way around. I'm not trying to sit here and say, just because I don't like the trade, I'm not trying to sit here and dog Dombrowski and say the trade doesn't make sense. It makes perfectly logical sense, and I can show you the text from yesterday on my cell phone when I was texting Jack McNeil of the MLB Talk 101. I was texting some people I work with. I know exactly why they did this, and it makes perfect sense to me. Just because I don't like it and I'm dogging the trade doesn't mean it doesn't make sense and it wasn't a good idea. Because in the long run, it's a great idea because of the contract constraints that you would have had on fielder and a declining fielder too, especially in the end of it. But now you free up some spots. And, you got extra money to play with, and you can sign some guys you want to sign long term. I completely get that aspect of it. But what I don't get is all these people sitting here praising it like Prince Fielder was some bum, like you just dropped Don Kelly off the roster. I mean, you're talking about a guy that hit 55 home runs, drove in 200 RBIs, had an on-base percentage of, over the last 2 years combined, hit 295 and an on-base percentage of 390, slugged a little over 500, posted an OPS of almost 900. I mean, you're losing a powered left-handed bat, a commodity in baseball that is not easy to replace. Since 2011, Prince Fielder is in the top 10 in baseball for weighted runs created. He is one of the top 10, top 7 hitters in baseball. And you just lost that and replaced it with Ian Kinsler. Now, Kinsler, I'm going to touch on him now, too. I know what Kinsler brings you. He brings you speed. He brings you athleticism. He improves your defense. And like I said, the defense as a whole improves. But now your lineup is very right-handed dominant. You just lost one of the best left-handed hitters in the game. Now, if they go out and sign Carlos Beltran or Sin-Soo Choo, I will absolutely love getting rid of Prince Fielder then. Because now you got, especially a guy of Choo's caliber, a guy that can play pretty good corner defensive spot, got good speed. You'd really have a lot of speed now with Iglesias, Jackson, Kinsler, and you'd bring a left-handed hitter, and then Beltran would bring you a switch-hitting approach and a veteran guy that can play decent to below-average defense. I mean, he's not going to wow you with his glove anymore, but he's going to bring you some pop and a switch hitter from both sides. So that would definitely fix up. Kinsler and a Beltran or a Kinsler and a Choo would make up for what you lose in Prince Fielder offensively, and then you would get with the Choo and Kinsler, especially, you'd get the speed side of it. 40 stolen bags right there between the two. Now, the one thing I want to touch on Kinsler, guys, you got to stop acting like we're getting Ian Kinsler of 2010, 2011. He's not a 30-30 guy anymore. His numbers have declined every single year over the last couple years. You're getting a guy that he slugged when he was on at home. All his numbers at home are about 150 to 200 points higher than on the road. You're talking about a guy in Arlington, his career slugged over 500 and slugged 399 on the road. You're talking about a guy that's a sub 270 hitter on the road. His numbers have been heavily inflated from playing in Arlington Park, and people need to realize this. You're not getting a 30-30 guy. Now, Kinsler, since he's a great runner and he takes the extra base 61% of the time, you are going to get a guy where you're not going to see 30-30, but you might get 20-20-20, where you'll get 20 homers, 20 steals, 20 doubles, and 20 plus doubles, because I expect Kinsler's doubles to go up. If Kinsler hits less than 30 doubles this year, I would be very surprised. So you might get 20 homers, 20 steals, 30 doubles. I would be more than happy with that coming out of Kinsler. But to think you're going to get 30-30 out of this guy, it's done. He's not a 30-30 guy anymore. He's 20-20 at best, and hope to get 30 doubles out of him while hitting 275 and driving at 80. If we get that out of Kinsler while he plays good defense, I would be more than happy with this trade. But as it's sitting, looking at his current trend, a guy that has missed some games, has had some injury problems, his numbers have declined. And you traded, and he's a couple years older than Prince, and you traded Prince away, a guy that's done nothing but put up numbers, played every single game. It just blows my mind a little bit, and that was my main dead set reason against the trade, because you're getting a Kinsler who's not a 30-30 guy anymore, has had injury problems, and you're trading away a guy that plays every day and has to put up big numbers in his career. For Ian Kinsler, and then you just made your lineup very right-handed dominant. Now, Dave Dombrowski is not done. I guarantee you he makes another sign, because he's not going to leave the lineup the way it is. He's got holes in left. He's got a hole at third. Is Cassidy going to play third? What's going to go on? But my main point for this video was to break down this trade and to tell you guys, I get why he did it. I wasn't coming on here yesterday to yell just to yell. I was infuriated because of the caliber player they traded and who they got. I like Ian Kinsler. I really do. I have no problem with him. But I just did not like the fielder for Kinsler, what you lose in Prince Fielder to gain with Ian Kinsler, like I said. So this is all this video was about, to break down the trade. I get why they did it. I'm not going to be happy with it, but I'm accepting the trade. I hope Ian Kinsler, I wish him well here in Detroit. I want him to do good. I'm not going to wish suck on him because I'm spiteful because they traded Prince Fielder for him. That's just stupid. I love this team. This is my passion. It's my love. I love this fucking team. I'm not going to sit here and wish bad on one of my players, unless it's Brandon Inch. He can go fuck himself. But I really like Ian Kinsler, and I'm glad he's on my team. I'm just going to accept this trade for what it is. I know why they did it, and it's going to work out best for the Tigers in the long run. I think the Rangers win the trade in the now, because I think they're probably a better team on offensive team on paper than the Tigers if you look at it. They could be with Prince Fielder in that lineup now, especially with Belcher, and they bring back Nelson Cruz. But in the long run, the Tigers are definitely the winners in this trade, and they got a guy. They don't have to worry about second base anymore. They're up the middle. They can sign Cabrera long term. They got him at first, out of third, and then now you got just to worry about your left fielder, your bullpen for sure, and and maybe Castellanos can come back to third. So, like I said, guys, I know why they did it. I'm not hating on Dombrowski. I'm not calling it a bad trade. I know why they did the trade. I'm just not happy about it. But I'm over it. I'm over it. Welcome Ian Kinsler to the Tigers. I hope you do well. And please pick number 3 so we can have 3-1 up the middle again. All right? Have a good one, guys. Go Tigers.